The ghost ship returns. The sacred silence of deep space had remained undisturbed for centuries. The galactic hegemony had ruled over 500 star systems with what they called peace, an iron-fisted order maintained through constant surveillance and immediate subjugation of any species that dared to resist their authority. No real war had touched hegemony space in nearly 400 years, not since they had crushed the last of the mid-rim rebellions and established total control over the known galaxy. Most species under hegemony rule had forgotten what true resistance looked like. Defiance had become a concept taught in historical texts, a quaint relic of more primitive times before the enlightened rule of the hegemony brought order to chaos. So when the transmission arrived from Outpost Zeta 9 on the far edge of controlled space, garbled and filled with static, it caused more confusion than concern among the monitoring staff on the hegemony capital world of Nexus Prime. Unidentified vessel, refusing to respond to hails. Not matching any known configuration. Approaching restricted zone at high velocity. The transmission cut out abruptly, replaced by 30 seconds of crackling static before resuming with words that sent a chill through the monitoring station. Visual confirmation obtained. Design architecture appears to be. This can't be right. It's human. Repeat, we have a human vessel in hegemony space. High Strategist Varric Thull stood motionless in the central command hub of the hegemony defense network, surrounded by the blue glow of tactical holograms and nervous subordinates. The word echoed through his mind, triggering memories of classified briefings and sealed historical records. Human. According to every official record, humans had been extinct for 3 centuries. Earth had been classified as a dead world, a toxic wasteland left spinning uselessly in its solar system after the hegemony's cleansing protocols had been executed. The complete extinction of humanity had been one of the hegemony's first great achievements, celebrated annually as the foundation day of modern galactic peace. "Play it again," Varric ordered, his 4 eyes narrowing as the recording repeated. Each time, that final word sent ice through his circulatory system. His chief intelligence officer, a tall, willowy Tsundere named Mirren, leaned closer. Perhaps it's an automated drone. Some ancient relic drifting in from the void. Varric shook his head slowly. The ship was moving deliberately. It evaded border sensors and didn't broadcast any identification codes. This is no derelict. He turned to the surveillance hologram. "Show me visual, full spectrum analysis." What appeared on the display silenced the entire command hub. The vessel was sleek, obsidian black, and scarred from battles fought long ago. Its hull bore no markings except for a faded emblem near what appeared to be the command section, the outline of a planet with a single tear-shaped drop falling from it. Earth's final emblem, adopted in the last days before extinction. No active communications, no emergency beacon, no standard propulsion signature, Mirren reported, her voice wavering slightly. And most disturbing, no life signs. "Then how is it moving?" Varric demanded. "Unknown. Our scanners detect no crew, no atmosphere within the vessel. Yet it navigates with purpose, evading our patrol routes with precision that suggests." "Suggests what?" Mirren hesitated. "Intelligence. Active guidance." The ship had bypassed 3 security checkpoints and was now on a direct course toward the hegemony's most secure research facility in the sector. Blackstone Station orbiting the gas giant Cronus. It hadn't fired a single shot. It hadn't deviated from its course. It simply moved as if fulfilling a mission programmed centuries ago. Panic began to ripple through the upper echelons of hegemony leadership, not because of what the ship might do, but because of what it represented. History in the hegemony was carefully curated, sanitized for public consumption. The rise of the hegemony, the subjugation of resistant species, the cleansing of Earth, these were presented as necessary steps toward universal peace. But the classified records told a different story. Humans hadn't been completely eradicated. A small fleet of experimental vessels had vanished during the final assault on Earth. Intelligence at the time deemed them irrelevant. damaged ships fleeing into the void to die slowly rather than quickly. One of those ships had been designated as particularly dangerous, an experimental vessel created in humanity's final desperate hours. They had called it the Nemesis. "Alert the Council," Varric ordered, his voice tight. "Security level Alpha. And find out exactly what research is being conducted at Blackstone." His subordinates scattered, but Mirren lingered. "What if it's not here to attack?" she asked quietly. Varric turned to her, all four eyes narrowed in concern. "That would be worse," he said grimly. "What if it's here to remember?" Admiral Nera Karis had been enjoying a quiet meal in her quarters aboard the Hegemony dreadnought Inevitable Justice when the emergency summons arrived. She was the youngest fleet admiral in Hegemony history, a tactical prodigy who had risen through the ranks by crushing pirate enclaves and smuggling operations with ruthless efficiency. But this assignment was different. The briefing she received upon arriving at the bridge sent her mind reeling. "A human ship," she repeated, studying the tactical display showing the vessel's trajectory. "That's impossible. Humans have been extinct for centuries." Fleet Commander Draz, her second in command, nodded grimly. "That's what the historical records claim. But High Command just transmitted classified files suggesting otherwise." The files painted a disturbing picture. During the final days of the Earth campaign, human scientists had been working on experimental technology, desperate measures born from a species facing extinction. Most of their research facilities had been destroyed in the orbital bombardment, but intelligence reports indicated one particular project had reached completion before the end. A ship that could operate without a crew. A vessel capable of carrying Earth's vengeance across time and space if necessary. "What's at Blackstone Station?" Nera asked, studying the trajectory of the approaching vessel. Draz hesitated. "Classified research. Level 10 clearance only." Nera fixed him with a steely gaze. "I'm leading this defense operation, Commander. I need to know what I'm defending." After receiving emergency authorization from High Command, the information appeared on her private screen. As she read, her blood ran cold. Blackstone Station housed the Hegemony's most closely guarded secret, artifacts recovered from Earth before its destruction. Technology deemed too dangerous to destroy but too valuable to ignore. The research facility had been studying these remnants for centuries, slowly reverse engineering the innovations of humanity's final desperate hours. Most disturbing was the facility's primary research subject, a black cube recovered from beneath Earth's surface, believed to contain the digitized consciousness of thousands of humans, a last-ditch effort to preserve their species in some form. "They'd been poking at human remains for 300 years, Nera muttered. "And now those humans have sent something to poke back." The Nemesis continued its inexorable approach toward Blackstone Station, ignoring all hails and warnings. Nera mobilized her fleet, positioning 20 warships in a defensive formation around the research facility. If the human vessel meant to attack, it would face the full might of the Hegemony's finest ships. "All vessels maintain position," she ordered. "Weapons charged, but do not fire unless I give the command." The tension on the bridge was palpable as the mysterious vessel approached. It was smaller than she had expected, approximately one-third the size of her dreadnought. But its design was unlike anything in modern shipbuilding. Angular, predatory, with what appeared to be weapons systems that defied classification. "It's slowing," reported her tactical officer, "maintaining distance of 50,000 kilometers from our perimeter." Nera studied the vessel on the main view screen. "Open a direct channel. All frequencies." For several minutes, there was no response. Then, without warning, every screen on the bridge flickered and changed. The image that appeared wasn't a face or a formal transmission. It was footage, ancient, grainy recordings from Earth's final days. Cities burning under orbital bombardment, civilians running through streets as buildings collapsed around them, children huddled in bunkers, soldiers making last stands against mechanized hegemony forces, and finally, a massive underground facility where scientists worked frantically around a central project, the very ship now hanging in space before them. The footage cut abruptly, replaced by text in an ancient human language. The ship's computer translated. U-E-R-A-S-E-D-U-S. U-I-D about U.S. U-for-jod U.S. We D-I-D-N-T F-O-G-U. Nara felt a chill run down her spine. "What do you want?" she broadcast, knowing it could hear her. The response came immediately, text scrolling across her screens. The truth. Before anyone could respond, the human vessel vanished from their sensors. Not through any recognized jump technology or cloaking system. It simply disappeared. Alarms blared across the bridge as tactical officers scrambled to locate it. "Admiral," shouted her sensor operator. "The ship has reappeared. It's inside our defensive perimeter, directly adjacent to Blackstone Station." Somehow, the ancient human vessel had bypassed 20 of the most advanced warships in the galaxy, appearing within meters of the research facility's main airlock. And then, more alarming still, came the report from Blackstone itself. "Security breach in progress. Something's accessing our systems. The artifact is responding." The black cube, dormant for centuries despite all research attempts to activate it, had suddenly come to life. Nara stared at the tactical display, a realization dawning on her that would shake the hegemony to its core. This wasn't a random event or a ghost ship drifting in from the past. This was the beginning of humanity's return. Echoes of vengeance. The command center of Blackstone Station had erupted into chaos. Director Samveri, the facility's head researcher, watched in horror as security systems failed in cascading sequence. Emergency lights bathed the sterile white corridors in pulsing red as alarms wailed throughout the station. "Lock down the artifact chamber," he shouted to his security team. "Nothing gets in or out." But it was already too late. The massive vault doors protecting the station's most valuable possession, the mysterious black cube recovered from Earth's ruins, had sealed themselves shut, trapping 3 researchers inside. And worse, all surveillance within the chamber had gone dark. Aboard the Inevitable Justice, Admiral Nara Karis was issuing rapid-fire commands. "Disable that vessel immediately. Targeted ion bursts only. We need that ship intact." As her gunners took aim, the human vessel pulsed with energy. Not weapons fire, but something else. A targeted electromagnetic burst that washed over Blackstone Station. Internal communications from the research facility cut off abruptly. "They've established a direct link to the station's mainframe," reported her tactical officer. "They're downloading everything." 3 centuries of classified research on human artifacts, technology, and history, all being siphoned by the silent black ship. Nara made her decision. "All ships, engage. Priority target is the docking mechanism between the human vessel and the station." 20 hegemony warships opened fire simultaneously, filling the void with energy beams and missile salvos. The Nemesis made no attempt to evade, instead extending what appeared to be a shimmering energy field that absorbed or deflected everything thrown at it. Technology that shouldn't exist, certainly nothing that could have been developed by humans before their supposed extinction. Within the artifact chamber on Blackstone Station, the 3 trapped researchers backed against the walls as the black cube began to transform. Its obsidian surface rippled like liquid, sections separating and reconfiguring into a new shape, a spherical projection device that activated without warning. The hologram that filled the chamber was so realistic that the researchers initially thought someone had entered the room. A human male, approximately middle-aged by their species standards, dressed in what appeared to be a military uniform. His expression was solemn, his eyes reflecting a weariness that transcended mere fatigue. "I am Captain Marcus Vega of the Earth Defense Force," the hologram announced. "If you're seeing this message, then the Nemesis has completed its primary directive, to find evidence of humanity's legacy." On the bridge of the Inevitable Justice, Admiral Karis was receiving fragments of this transmission, patched through from the failing systems on Blackstone. She watched, transfixed, as the human captain continued. 300 years ago, your hegemony launched what you called the cleansing of Earth. You bombed our cities, poisoned our atmosphere, and declared our species extinct. But humanity has always excelled at one thing above all others: survival. The hologram shifted, showing footage of massive underground complexes beneath Earth's surface, enormous structures built deep enough to survive orbital bombardment. While your fleets celebrated victory above, 50 million humans retreated below. Not just soldiers, but families, artists, scientists, the best of us, preserved to ensure humanity wouldn't fade into myth. Nera felt her hearts racing as the implications became clear. The official history, the foundation of hegemony legitimacy, was built on a lie. In the artifact chamber, the hologram expanded to show more. Massive generation ships launching from hidden facilities on Earth's moon and Mars. Stealth vessels using technology the hegemony had never encountered, slipping past blockades during the final assault. "We knew we couldn't defeat your armadas directly," Captain Vega continued. "So we scattered. We disappeared into the darkness between stars, seeking worlds beyond your reach. For 3 centuries, we've rebuilt, we've grown, and we've remembered." The Nemesis disengaged from Blackstone Station as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving behind the activated cube. Admiral Karras ordered immediate pursuit, but the vessel performed another impossible spatial jump, reappearing 2 million kilometers away, well beyond immediate reach. "New transmission coming in," her communications officer reported. "Live this time." The view screen shifted, and Nera found herself face to face with a living human for the first time in her life. Not a hologram or historical recording, but a flesh and blood man sitting in the command chair of the Nemesis. His resemblance to the Captain Vega from the recording was unmistakable, though subtle differences suggested this was a descendant rather than the original. "This is Captain Daniel Vega of the Human Alliance vessel Nemesis," he announced, his voice calm despite the 20 warships now moving to surround him. "I am addressing Admiral Nera Karras of the Hegemony Defense Force." Nera stepped forward, maintaining the composure expected of her rank. "You have violated restricted space, accessed classified materials, and threatened hegemony security. Surrender your vessel immediately." A faint smile touched Vega's lips. "I'm not here to surrender, Admiral. I'm here to deliver a message and retrieve what belongs to us." "The cube," Nera realized. "It's some kind of storage device." Vega nodded. "The Memoriam Archive, containing the digitized minds of Earth's greatest thinkers, along with our complete cultural heritage. You've been trying to crack it for centuries, but it was never meant for you to access. It was waiting for us to return." On Blackstone Station, Director Sem Veri was witnessing something extraordinary. The black cube had completed its transformation, projecting what appeared to be technical schematics throughout the chamber. His researchers were frantically recording everything they could, recognizing that they were seeing technology centuries beyond current hegemony capabilities. "How is this possible?" Sem Veri whispered. "How could humans have survived?" The cleansing was absolute. One of his researchers looked up from her data pad, her expression troubled. "Director, I've been analyzing these schematics. They're not just advanced. They're impossible. The Q isn't just a storage device. It's a quantum communications relay." To communicate with what? With them, the ones who escaped. In deep space, the standoff continued. Admiral Karras had positioned her fleet in an attack formation that would overwhelm even the Nemesis's impressive defenses. Yet she hesitated to give the order, captivated by the implications of what she was learning. "The High Council will never acknowledge your existence," she told Captain Vega. "Too much of the hegemony's authority is built on the myth of human extinction." Vega's expression remained neutral. "We don't need their acknowledgement, Admiral. We've spent 3 centuries building something new beyond your borders. 37 colony worlds, alliances with species you've never encountered, technology you can't comprehend. Then why reveal yourselves now? Why risk everything with this demonstration?" For the first time, real emotion crossed Vega's face, not anger or hatred, but something like pity. "Because your hegemony is dying, Admiral. Your expansion has stalled. Your subject species grow restless. Your economy falters under the weight of maintaining control over too vast a territory. We could have remained hidden for another century and watched you collapse from within." He leaned forward in his command chair. "Instead, we're offering an alternative. The cube now broadcasting on Blackstone Station contains more than just our history. It holds a proposal, a pathway to transform the hegemony into something that might actually last. A true federation of worlds rather than an empire." Before Nera could respond, her tactical officer shouted a warning. "Admiral, multiple spatial anomalies forming at the edge of the system." On her display, dozens of rifts in space-time were opening, similar to the technology the Nemesis had used, but on a larger scale. Through each rift emerged another vessel of human design, forming a fleet that dwarfed her own. "You should know, Admiral," Vega said quietly, "that this isn't an invasion. It's a revelation. Every ship you see represents a human colony world that has thrived beyond your borders. We could have struck at any time in the past century, but that's not our purpose. The human vessels maintain distance, making no aggressive moves despite their clear tactical advantage." "What is your purpose, then?" Nera asked, knowing the fate of the hegemony might hinge on his answer. "To offer a choice," Vega replied. "The hegemony was founded on the belief that only through absolute control could peace be maintained. That experiment has run its course. Now we're offering an alternative path, a genuine alliance between equals." On Blackstone Station, the cube had completed its primary function. The researchers watched in awe as it collapsed back into its original shape, but with one difference: a pulsing blue light at its core, visible through the obsidian surface. "It's a key," whispered one of the researchers. "Not a weapon or a threat, just a key to unlock something much larger." In that moment, Director Semveri made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. Against all protocols, he established a direct channel to the Hegemony High Council, broadcasting everything they had witnessed. The extinction of humanity was a lie, he announced to the assembled counselors. And that lie has been the foundation of our authority for 3 centuries. But now we face a choice: continue that lie and face inevitable conflict, or acknowledge the truth and explore a new possibility. In deep space, Admiral Karis faced her own decision. Standing orders were clear. Any threat to hegemony security was to be eliminated regardless of cost. Yet before her was not just a threat, but a possibility. A glimpse of a different future than the one she had been trained to protect. "Your vessels remain in hegemony space illegally," she told Captain Vega, maintaining the formal stance expected of her. "Under normal circumstances, I would be obligated to open fire." Vega waited, sensing there was more. "However," Nera continued, "given the extraordinary nature of this situation, I am invoking Emergency Protocol Sigma 9, which grants me authority to establish diplomatic contact in unprecedented circumstances." She straightened her uniform, aware that her next words might end her career or begin a new chapter for her civilization. "Captain Vega, on behalf of the Galactic Hegemony, I formally request a diplomatic envoy to discuss the terms of potential coexistence between our peoples." For the first time, Vega smiled genuinely. "Admiral Karis, on behalf of the Human Alliance and our 37 colony worlds, I accept your request." As the human fleet maintained its position and hegemony vessels stood down from battle stations, the first diplomatic channel between humanity and the hegemony in 3 centuries was established. The message from Blackstone Station continued to spread throughout hegemony space: the truth of humanity's survival, the lie at the foundation of the empire, and the possibility of a different path forward. Aboard the Nemesis, Captain Daniel Vega sent a simple encrypted message back toward human space. "Phase 1 complete. The remembering has begun." The ghost ship had returned not to haunt the hegemony, but to awaken it, to offer a choice between clinging to a comforting lie or embracing a challenging truth. As the diplomatic talks began, both sides recognized that the galaxy was entering a new era, one where humanity would no longer be consigned to myth, but would take its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as equals. The silence of deep space, sacred for so long, had been broken by the voices of those who refused to be forgotten.